Hey everyone, ready to dive into something kind of gross but super fascinating.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Today we're cracking open the digestive system and focusing on a process most people probably never even think about, secretions.
Wow, secretions.
Yeah, maybe not the most glamorous topic,
Mm,
but we're going to make it interesting. Promise.
you bet.
We're digging into secretory functions of the alimentary tract by Dr. Suleiman Abdirahman.
Oh, that's a classic.
This book goes deep, but we'll pull out the coolest, most mind-blowing stuff.
Sounds good.
Okay, first things first. What exactly are secretions in this context?
Well, basically, it's like this.
hmm
Imagine your digestive tract as a factory.
Okay, I can picture that.
At each stage of the process, you need special workers to break down the food, right?
Right.
So think of secretions as the tools and materials these workers use.
Okay, so we're talking fluids, enzymes,
Yeah.
mucus,
Mm.
all that fun stuff.
Exactly. It's all about breaking down those complex food molecules into something our bodies can actually use.
So it's not just one big food processor in there.
Not at all. It's way more organized than that. Each part of the system has its own specialized secretions.
I see. Like saliva is different from stomach acid, and so on.
Precisely. Each with its own specific job to do.
Which brings me to my next question. Why so much saliva? Seriously, over 800 milliliters a day. I mean, it's just spit, right?
But it's not just spit. It's way more complex than you might think.
Oh.
Yes, saliva actually contains enzymes that start breaking down carbs right there in your mouth.
So it's like pre-digestion before the food even hits the stomach.
You got it. And it also helps lubricate things, making it easier to swallow.
Clever. Okay, so we've got saliva working on carbs in the mouth. What happens when the food reaches the stomach?
The stomach.
Land of stomach acid.
Pretty much. That hydrochloric acid is a real powerhouse.
Yeah, but why so acidic? I mean, doesn't it hurt?
Well, first off, that acidity is killer for bacteria.
A built-in defense system.
Exactly. Think about all the potential bugs hitching a ride on our food. Stomach acid wipes them out.
Smart. Anything else it does besides killing bacteria?
Oh, yeah, it also activates pepsinogen, turning it into pepsin.
Pepsin.
That's the enzyme that starts breaking down proteins.
So it's a two-for-one deal. Zap those bacteria and kickstart protein digestion.
Exactly. And on top of that, the acidity helps with iron and calcium absorption, too.
So stomach acid, it's not just for heartburn anymore.
Huh. No, it's much more important than that.
But if it's so strong, how come our stomachs don't, dissolve themselves?
Good question. The stomach lining has a special mucus layer that protects it.
Like a built-in shield.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing how the body takes care of itself.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So we've got saliva working on carbs, stomach acid on proteins. What's next?
Well, next up, we've got the pancreas, which is a real workhorse.
Okay, the pancreas. I know it's involved somehow.
It's like the enzyme factory of the digestive system. It pumps out a whole array of enzymes to break down everything: proteins, carbs, fats, the whole shebang.
Wow, a real multitasker.
And here's the cool part. It also produces bicarbonate to neutralize that stomach acid before it reaches the small intestine.
Whoa, why is that important?
Well, the enzymes in the small intestine are a bit more sensitive than those in the stomach. They need a more neutral environment to do their thing.
Got it. So it's like fine-tuning the pH for optimal enzyme performance.
Exactly.
The pancreas is really setting the stage for the next act.
It is. And speaking of interconnectedness, we can't forget about bile.
Oh, bile. That's another one that doesn't always get the best rap.
I know, right? But it's essential for digesting fats. Think of it like a detergent that breaks down big fat globules into smaller droplets.
Oh, so it's like pre-treating the fats for easier digestion.
Precisely. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Totally. But I'm curious about the gallbladder. I know it stores bile, but what's the point? Why not send it straight to the small intestine?
Well, think of the gallbladder as a concentration chamber. It removes water from the bile, making it extra potent.
So it's like a supercharged bile reserve.
Exactly. Got to make sure those fats get broken down properly.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
It's incredible how everything is so interconnected.
It really is. And we're just getting started.
I'm already mind blown.
Wait till we get to the small intestine where most of the absorption happens.
Okay, bring it on. I can't wait to hear more.
All right, but first, let's take a moment to appreciate those earlier secretions. They've prepped the food, broken down the big molecules, and neutralized the harsh acids. A true team effort.
Agreed. It's amazing how our bodies have evolved these complex systems to keep us fueled and running. I'm starting to appreciate the simple act of eating on a whole new level.
Me too. It really is remarkable when you think about it. So we've seen those early stages, right?
Saliva, stomach acid, bile. the A-team of digestion.
Huh, I like that. But the real action, the grand finale, happens in the small intestine. That's where most of the nutrient absorption takes
Right,
place.
the small intestine. It's like the VIP section where all the good stuff gets absorbed.
Exactly. But it's not just passively absorbing.
Ugh. It's doing more than just soaking things up.
Way more. The small intestine has its own set of glands that contribute to the whole digestive party.
Really? I didn't realize that. Like, what kind of glands?
Well, for starters, we've got Brunner's glands in the
The
duodenum.
duodenum. That's the first part of the small intestine, right?
Yep. And these Brunner's glands, they secrete an alkaline mucus. Lots of bicarbonate in there.
Hold on. More bicarbonate. I thought the pancreas handled all that.
The pancreas does its part, for sure, but the duodenum is right next door to the stomach, remember?
Oh, right.
So those Brunner's glands provide extra protection just in case any of that stomach acid tries to sneak through.
Like a backup defense system.
Exactly. They neutralize any lingering acidity and create the perfect environment for the enzymes in the small intestine to do their thing.
Makes sense. What else is going on in the small intestine gland-wise?
Well, throughout the small intestine, we've got these things called crypts of Lieberkühn.
Crypts of Lieberkühn. That sounds intense.
They sound a bit scary, but they're actually super important. They secrete water and electrolytes. Lots of them.
Okay, why so much water and electrolytes? What do they do?
Well, think about it. We need the right consistency for that chyme, that partially digested food, to move along smoothly, right?
Gotta keep things flowing.
Exactly. And that's where the water and electrolytes come in. They help create the perfect environment for nutrient absorption.
So it's not just about breaking down the food, it's about creating the ideal environment for those nutrients to actually get absorbed.
You got it. And on top of all that, the small intestine itself produces enzymes too, for the final breakdown of those
Oh,
nutrients.
right, like specific enzymes for different types of molecules?
You know it. Peptidases to break down peptides into amino acids, and then enzymes like sucrase, maltase, lactase, all working on those sugars.
Wow, it's like a whole enzyme party in there.
It really is. And once those nutrients are broken down into their simplest forms, they're finally ready to be absorbed by those cells lining the small intestine.
It's amazing how all these secretions work together, each playing its part. From the initial breakdown in the mouth to the final absorption in the small intestine, it's a symphony of digestion.
Absolutely. And it's all happening without us even having to think about it.
Speaking of all these players,
Uh-huh.
you mentioned earlier how the pancreas pumps out all those enzymes. What happens if it, like, malfunctions? Seems like a lot could go wrong there.
Oh, yeah. There are definitely things that can throw a wrench in the works.
Like what?
Well, pancreatitis, for example, that's inflammation of the pancreas.
Pancreatitis. Ouch. What causes that?
Lots of things, actually. Gallstones, alcohol abuse, even some medications can trigger it.
So if the pancreas is inflamed, it can't do its job properly.
Exactly. And if it's not producing enough enzymes, things can get backed up. Food won't be fully broken down,
Yeah.
and we won't absorb those essential nutrients.
That doesn't sound good. What about bile? Any issues that can pop up there?
Oh, for sure. Gallstones, which we mentioned earlier, can actually block the bile duct.
Blocking the bile duct. So the bile can't get to the small intestine.
Yep. And that can cause a whole host of problems. Pain, nausea, and trouble digesting fats.
Wow, so many things can go wrong. It makes you appreciate how important it is to keep your digestive system healthy.
Absolutely. A healthy diet, regular exercise, avoiding things that can damage your pancreas, like too much alcohol, it all makes a difference.
Well, we've certainly uncovered a lot about the digestive system today. I'm feeling a newfound respect for this whole process.
Me too. It's incredibly complex and efficient, all these different organs and secretions working together.
Before we wrap up, I have one last thought. We've talked about all these different secretions and how important they are, but what happens if just one part of the system malfunctions? What are the consequences for our overall health?
And it really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Like, it's one thing to know the digestive system is complex, but to see how interconnected it all is.
Right. It's not just a bunch of separate organs doing their own thing. It's a team effort.
Totally. So let's play that what-if game. What if one part of the system isn't working right?
Well, it can have a ripple effect. Think of it like a chain reaction.
Okay, I'm picturing a chain reaction. What happens?
So let's say, for example, the pancreas isn't producing enough enzymes. What happens then?
Well, the food wouldn't get fully broken down, right?
That's right. And if it's not fully broken down, our bodies can't absorb those nutrients properly.
Which could lead to,
Nutrient deficiencies, for one thing,
Mhm.
and that can lead to a whole other set of issues.
yikes. And what about if there's a problem with bile production?
Ah, bile. It's so important for those fats.
Yeah, we talked about that. What happens if it's not working right?
Well, if the liver isn't producing enough bile, or if there's a blockage somewhere,
Like a gallstone blocking the bile duct,
exactly, then those fats won't get broken down properly.
leading to,
Well, you might have trouble absorbing those fats, could lead to diarrhea, maybe even vitamin deficiencies.
because some vitamins need fat to be absorbed.
That's right.
It's amazing how one little glitch can throw everything off.
It is. It really highlights the importance of a healthy digestive system for overall well-being.
Absolutely. So I think we've given everyone a lot to think about today.
We have. It's been quite a journey through the digestive system.
From saliva to stomach acid to bile and all those amazing glands and enzymes.
Who knew digestion could be so fascinating?
Right. And a little bit gross too, let's be honest.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's part of the fun.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks to everyone for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those digestive systems happy.